In our last segment, we discussed some of the ethical issues surrounding gamete donation. But here's an angle on the topic that we need to discuss in greater detail: the money that changes hands. Fertility medicine has helped many people fulfill their deepest desires. It is also a multi-billion-dollar industry. As we know, when money enters the picture, the ethical landscape often changes. One of the major ethical concerns about fertility medicine is whether it commodifies aspects of human reproduction and the participants in it in a morally troubling way. Is it permissible to buy or sell human gametes, sperm or eggs? Can you legitimately rent out someone's uterus to use for creating a baby? Or are there some things that just should not be for sale? Let's start with an easy one. Practically everyone agrees that babies should not be for sale. This is because we think human beings are just not the sort of thing that can be bought and sold. And the reason for that has to do with our moral status, or the type of value that we have. The 18th century philosopher Immanuel Kant drew a distinction between two types of value: price and dignity. Price is just what it sounds like: value determined by the marketplace. If I draw a picture and put it up for sale on eBay, the value of the picture is just whatever someone is, or is not, willing to pay for it. Its value, or market price, is conditional on what other people do or think about it. If no one will buy it, it has no monetary value. Now, it may still have sentimental value to me, or what Kant called fancy price. If it doesn't sell, I may keep it anyway. But maybe in a few years, I'll decide that it's just clutter and toss it in the trash. Once everyone stops caring about it, it no longer has any value. Now, dignity is value of an entirely different and much grander kind. On Kant's view, to have dignity is to have unconditional value, value that is independent of anyone else's ideas or opinions. Dignity also implies incommensurable value, meaning that its worth cannot be measured or compared to the worth of anything else. Kant believed that all human beings have dignity, dignity that must be respected in everything we do. When we treat a person with dignity as if she were an object with price, we do something deeply morally wrong. Now, what exactly is being bought and sold in the reproductive marketplace? We've established that it's not supposed to be babies. But what about the components from which those babies are created? Within fertility medicine, no one talks about sperm and egg sellers. They are nearly always referred to as donors. But most aren't exactly donors in the usual sense. Is this treating them like commodities, objects with price, rather than persons with dignity? The claim that human beings have dignity rules out the buying and selling of actual human beings. And yet, it seems okay to sell things that we own or have made, like my artwork, if anyone would buy it. But what about selling parts of myself, say my blood or my left kidney? Now notice that if I donated my left kidney to someone in desperate need of it, I would be regarded as doing something morally praiseworthy. And yet, selling blood or a kidney strikes many people as degrading or demeaning somehow, a violation of my dignity. In some circumstances, it can be insulting or disrespectful to be given money for what we're doing. Of course, it can also be disrespectful not to be given money for what we're doing. Paying someone for her work is also a way of showing her respect, of not, say, taking her electrical skills for granted. And of course, the chance to earn money for one's work is crucial to escaping a life of poverty and vulnerability. So which way does it go with paying for gametes or the use of someone's uterus? Is it degrading someone's dignity, or is it respecting it? Or maybe it's both. Or maybe what they're getting paid for is not the gamete itself, but the effort they put into donating it. This would explain why women get paid more than men for donating their gametes. Donating eggs is far more time-consuming, painful, and risky than donating sperm, and so it seems only fair. This is even more true for surrogates, who put in months of effort and take on additional costs and risks. So if what the person is selling is her time and effort, not her gamete, that might suggest that all sperm donors should be paid the same, all egg donors paid the same, and all surrogates paid the same. But that's not what happens. It turns out that in the reproductive market, some gametes are worth more than others. Now, my drawings would not be worth much on eBay. The drawings of someone with actual artistic talent and skill would be worth more. This seems reasonable. The talented artist is, after all, going to produce better art, and better art is worth more money. What if we apply the same logic to gametes? Does that mean that the gametes of some people, say those with high IQs, musical talent, or those who are physically attractive, should fetch a higher price? In fact, they often do. Is this a moral problem? We might not be thrilled about it, but we may also think that people using donor gametes have a right to choose the donor on the basis of whatever characteristics they happen to value. After all, people choose their spouses and partners on the basis of similar characteristics, and we don't usually think that's morally wrong. But there's still something unsettling about the idea of a reproductive marketplace in which an increasingly large number of people are selecting from a gene pool consisting of gametes from people with certain specific traits. It's especially unsettling when we remember that not so long ago, the eugenics movement was alive and well in the United States. It's unlikely that money will stop changing hands in the area of assisted reproduction. Market forces are already in operation. But perhaps we should be thinking more carefully about the appropriateness of those forces.